at dinner, that's when I start talking numbers, right? And I've been burned so many times on giving allowance right off the bat. Like when I first started this, there was at least 2 girls I gave $4,000 to that I never seen again after the first date.
So you gave them like a monthly?
A monthly. I do monthly.
Yeah.
And that's my number 4.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. And today in the studio, I've got a lovely co-host, Angie.
Hello.
Angie, it's been a while.
It has.
Welcome to the new year.
I'm excited to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been going on? Little mic problem. Speaking to the mic.
I always want to put it in your face.
Anyway, what's been going on?
Oh, nothing super exciting. I'm house hunting, so
You're hunting for a house?
I am.
You know that's what I do.
I don't know if I'm ready to buy.
Oh, okay.
Do you specialize in rentals?
I try to avoid those. I have plenty myself, but I don't have any openings right now.
I'm not moving until May, so.
Okay, well, we'll talk after the show.
Just
Hey, so today I have somebody who went to our website, wrote me a letter at secretsofasugardaddy.com. And I want to read you this letter, kind of give you an idea of what I received. So it says, I found your show a couple of weeks ago and binge listened and caught up and love it. I'm a plastic surgeon, live in Southern California, and been on SA since 2014. I was in a 22-year marriage that ended, then but had a rebound marriage to a stripper that only lasted a year. I've been in SA ever since, and I've met well over 100 women from sight and have learned so much and have some crazy stories. Currently, I have 2 women I have been with the past 2 years and love my life just the way it is. I don't think I could ever be with just one for a lot of the reasons you guys discuss. I wish I had a podcast like this when I first started out. It would have saved me a lot of money and grief. I'd love to be on your podcast and tell my experience and stories. And on the episode today, we have Charles from California. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, Charles.
Hi, how are you?
So let me ask you a couple of quick questions before we get started. How did you find us?
One day I was going to the operating room and I was bored doing liposuction, so I've been going to...
I've done so much liposuction, it's just boring.
Well, it is boring, but I've been listening to podcasts, but it's always from the women's perspective.
Yeah.
And some of them are like, wow, I can't believe they're talking this way. But so I just came across yours and I started listening and I liked, the way that it was presented. And I related a lot to your stories in particular. Yeah.
Well, you're talking to a couple people have been in long-term marriages ourselves, and we kind of gone through the experiences that you're going through. And yeah, I think we're the only podcast in the world really coming from a male perspective. So
right, most of them are from female, and
yeah.
They don't say a whole lot. Since I caught up with you guys, I tried to listen one home yesterday in the car, and it's like they don't say anything. It's different perspective.
Okay, so you found us, and then you've listened to. You said you binge listened. I appreciate that. So you're caught up.
Totally caught up.
So tell us about this stripper. we know about the marriage part, but the stripper part's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I had been married 22 years, and even her, she was 15 years younger than me. When I first met her, she was only 17. So,
wow.
And I was 32 at the time. But at the time, I wasn't having any luck with women my own age. It's just, then I think that's when I first realized, hey, you really like younger women. So we started dating. We got married in Vegas. Her mom had to sign the papers because she was 17.
Oh, my goodness.
I guess I could have went to jail if I didn't marry her, right? So,
oh, man.
And honestly, we never had sex until we got married. It was
really?
Like, yes, she, So, but it lasted 22 years. I had 2 great kids. It was really tough marriage, though. I put up with a lot. I'm sure she put up with a lot, but finally got to the point that I just was unhappy. It was overweight. It was really depressed and just finally had to leave. And then I ended up one night going to a strip club that I hadn't been to in probably 20 years. And I met this one dancer there, and we just hit it off really good, talked, went on a first real date. I mean, the first few dates were at the strip club, but the real first date was probably a month later, and I don't know, we just hit it off pretty good. I think got a little too fast paced for me because I just left a 22-year marriage, and she wanted to move in, and I don't think I was ready for that, and she ended up breaking up with me for a few months, and I think that's when I first got on SA. It was interesting because I had some liposuction in my neck, and my partner kind of messed me up, and he left me with a big hole in my neck, and I was really depressed at the time, and that had a lot to do why I broke up with her. But when I joined SA, I mean, I had this bandage on my neck literally for months, and I realized these girls don't really care what I look like. They just care about me and what I can provide for them. So I said, shit, this site's perfect for me. so then I started doing that. But at the same time, I kind of missed her, and I started dating her again, but it was slower this time, and never really got off SA until we got serious about moving in together and getting engaged. So we actually were together about 4 years, but the marriage part only lasted 13 months. So it was actually, I mean, I don't have any bitterness. I learned a lot from her in a lot of different ways, and it was a great experience. I wish I wouldn't have spent all that money on a wedding. That was, I said, it's the most expensive party I've ever thrown in my life.
Yeah.
But, it was a learning experience. It's truly a rebound.
So how long have you been on SA now?
Let's see. So we got separated about 3.5 years ago. So about 3.5 years consistently now. I'm never off it. I mean, I always keep my profile. I don't always use it all the time, and it sounds like it's a little waste of money, but I'm always, it's like he said, you're always looking for different flavors out there. And I like that analogy.
So you guys are like guys on the site then kind of are like perpetual browsers. You guys are just like on there just kind of scoping.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily looking for anything. And I don't know, I think
You're
because
peepers.
what I do for a living, I'm insanely picky, and it's like to me it's like a detriment. It's like sometimes I probably lose out on some great women because I'll get picky about the damnedest little shit. It's like, what the hell? But one thing I learned is it's not all about looks. I mean, initially it is, but after that, what's inside is way more important.
Yeah, so I keep mine active now, and I've discussed this before, is for podcast research a lot, but I do check out the profiles that message me. I still get quite a few people that message me. I'm not on there looking at a lot of profiles, messaging them. Every now and then, one will catch my eye, and I'll bring up the show.
Yeah.
Not only am I using kind of financial means as my cheat code, but now I'm using the show as my cheat code. My response has doubled and tripled. Oh, God, yeah.
Oh.
Everybody's intrigued about it.
It's a super intriguing show. If they should be. We're amazing.
So I'm able to kind of weird. So yeah, I'm able to use that a little bit. All right. So you said you've met quite a few women on the site.
Over 100, I think.
Yeah, I went a little crazy the first couple of years. Honestly, the last year, I've calmed down quite a bit. I've honestly consistently been with these two. One I actually met on the site, and then the other one actually didn't meet her at the site, but I met her at my house at a party, but it's the same arrangement. I give her an allowance. I bought her a car. I take care of her pretty much. So it's the same thing. Just I didn't particularly meet her on the site. Yeah.
Now, you said you're pretty open about it, and people pretty much know that you are in this lifestyle. How do they know?
I just tell them.
You just tell them?
Well, my office staff, we're like a big family.
And, okay. You discuss it?
Yeah. It's just,
you sent me pictures of a pretty busty bombshell. So,
yeah.
Whenever we
I didn't get to see.
I didn't send you that picture?
No.
I thought I did. So anyway.
Yeah, that's one of the two the two regulars I'm with now.
Right. Well, around here, whenever somebody sees an older guy with a younger girl, they just start assuming. So.
Right.
And she's very attractive, and we're just ordinary guys. We have to use this as our cheat code.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm on. I'm good.
You're
do
good.
It with you. Yeah. So for your two that you've had for a long time, what do you think it was about those two in particular of all these other girls that you met that like grabbed your attention?
They're completely opposite. And the first one's interesting. She's the one that I guess you call them the busty brunette. Those busties are cussing me. But,
I assumed that.
But I met her like 3 years ago, literally like a couple months after I had gotten separated from my stripper wife. And I got intimidated by her story because she was only on SA for a short period of time. I went out with her and I got her. She's like beautiful and I knock out. But her story was weird. She had been a lesbian most of her life. Until she was like 30, she was a lesbian. She had been in a, true lesbian relationship. And then she met this guy on SA that was a super, super powerful guy that he was a doctor, lawyer, owned several pharmaceutical companies. But he was also even older than me. I mean, he was like 10 years older than me. He made me look young. I got intimidated by all the stuff he gave her and took her over the world, bought her a house. The problem was he was married, which was one. And two, I found out later he was kind of abusive to her. So, if I had known that up front, I maybe not. But I got intimidated by that story, It's like, God, I said, I make good money, but I'm not a billionaire, and she was with him 7 years. It was a long time. And he still stalks her to this day. She hasn't been with him for, God, I guess about 6 or 7 years. But after a few months, I contacted her and she was perfect. I mean, she was, seemed beautiful. She was treated me good. It was like the perfect sugar baby. I mean, they don't get any better than her. But then I met this other girl that was super, super hot. Here goes my superficialness again. And somehow they found out about each other. I don't know. San Diego's a really small community, unfortunately for me. It doesn't seem like it is, but it is. And I made a bad decision. I went with the super hot one. And so I dumped the other one and got with the super, and she treated me like shit. She was high maintenance like you would not believe. I mean, she tried to break into my house. She stole $1,000 cash once from me out of my house. She was a nightmare. I don't give a crap how pretty you are, but you can't act that way, you know. Now she's making a fortune on Fans Only, but that's good for her, anyway. Yeah, so then I started dating a bunch of other different girls and kept thinking about this other one, going, God, what the hell did I do? Why did I break up with her? And so I, eventually got back with her, and we've been back about going on 1.5 years, 2 years now, something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
She's really, I mean, she lives close to me. She owns her own townhouse, which she doesn't work, which always makes me wonder how. You kind of assume she probably has multiple guys. I mean, that's what I assume. But I don't know. She says she doesn't. I give her $4,000 a month, but that's not enough to cover housing and living expenses in San Diego,
Yeah.
And so, assuming maybe that old guy helps her out still, who knows? I don't really know. I don't really question it, but, she spends the night with me all the time. We have a great time together. She's I've met her entire family, including a mom and dad who aren't together, but I've met everybody in her family, and she's just a great gal.
So this sounds like a girlfriend situation without the girlfriend pressures.
Right, exactly. And if I was going to be with one person, I think it would be her. I mean, of all the women I've been with my entire life, even my marriages, she's way better than any they were. And, the problem is from my experiences of my marriage, I'm gun shy. I protect myself. I almost don't want to have the feelings, but if I was going to be with one, and I'm not saying I won't someday, but for now I'm pretty content with what's going on.
Now, how much younger is she?
So she's not that much younger. Well, she's younger, but she's 23 years younger. She's 38.
Okay. That's not bad.
Yeah, she's 23. Not too bad.
What age do you prefer? Now, you're 61?
One.
Yeah. You look great, by the way.
I was going to say, you're looking good there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I prefer women in their 30s just because they're more mature.
Yeah.
I'd have more stuff in common. Can't say I don't date a lot in their 20s, but yeah, I like women between 30 and 40, is what I prefer. The other one is a total different. She's 29, so she's actually about 10 years younger. And let me tell you, she was a work in progress. It literally like 5 months before we had sex. So that took me some damn time.
Okay, so you were helping her out financially for 5 months?
Well, no, not as much. I didn't start doing that till things got, it was more reciprocated,
Okay.
This is the one that you met at the party.
This is the one I met at a party.
Okay.
I really liked her.
Gotcha.
And honestly, the main thing was just the physical attraction. I mean, she's just really pretty, and I was really attracted to her. I worked and worked. And it was probably the hardest I've ever worked for a woman in my life. And a couple of times I just kind of gave up. And at one point I even broke up with her to be with the one I just told you about. She just wasn't giving me what I wanted. She never spent the night with me ever. She hardly ever wanted to go on trips with me, which that's changed. She does go on trips now, but she still doesn't spend the night.
But so does she know about seeking arrangements?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So she knows about it, but she wasn't on there.
She even knows about the other girl. I was honest with her. I said, look, I just want to be honest. I don't like to lie. I'd rather just be truthful with you. I don't want to make up stories where I am. And I had went to a concert up in LA, and I said, look, I took this other girl that I told you about before, and I just want you to know. I said, and the reason is because honestly, you don't give me what I need. And I told her what she doesn't do. And, I think she's happy just the way it is. I mean, she's getting provided for. We almost have kind of like a girlfriend relationship by phone and text. We text and talk every day. But I see her maybe once a week at most, never on weekends. She never sees me on weekends, and she never spends the night. It's a different situation. To me, my situation with her, she's more like this buddy of mine, like a friend. Yeah. I can't let go because we built such this communication. I can tell her anything, and we can talk about anything. And there's things I can talk about her that I can't tell the other one just because I know her personality and stuff.
Okay, so most of my arrangements are like that. Even like my really intense, really great arrangements, I don't do a lot of overnights. I don't do a lot of... And I can't say that it's necessarily because I don't want to always. I think it's more because, she already knows that you're seeing someone else. Right. Or when you get into an arrangement or something like this, there's already kind of certain boundaries. And so for me, I do it because I don't want to have expectations greater than what my partner or my sugar daddy, if you will, can give me. So I kind of keep that space intentionally in those relationships because, you don't want to get too connected if there's not like an emotional future there. Right. So it's tough, I think, for the men and for the women because you feel this connection. You're having great sex. You're spending this time together. You're communicating. But then, like, what are the boundaries? And sometimes those are hard to define.
Yeah, I agree. It's blurred a lot, and it makes it difficult.
Well,
sometimes.
The fact that you met her at a party made it even more difficult to get to that point because I think if she was on Seeking, there's a lot of expectations that are already implied there.
Correct. Yes.
Where you kind of had to work for 5 months to get there. It sounds like.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the problem with meeting people off the site that I find, and that's why I keep going back to the site. Is because I don't have to have those conversations in the 5 months of trying to get there because I've been in exactly his shoes.
Yeah.
And I get it. It sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's the reverse for girls. Like we tend to put ourselves into typical relationships in a very emotional way. And the guy isn't there and he's out dating other people or doing all these other things and we're not supported. So when we go on SA, we know like what the man has to offer and we don't build up those expectations to like become too emotionally involved and we feel supported and appreciated. Right. So it's interesting how the dynamics are different for men and women.
Yeah. Well, the first one I told you about, she she knows I'm not exclusive with her, but she always assumes I'm with like 5 girls. And I said, no. I just said, she says, well, you're a plastic surgeon. You're probably with a lot of young, pretty girls. And I think even though she's gorgeous and I think she's very subconscious about getting older, her age and stuff. She's 38 and I think she's feeling the pressure to get married and that kind of stuff. So she always says, well, you're always with a bunch of young, pretty girls. I go, no, just one. I go, not 5, just one. I mean, every now and then I'll get another one look around, but usually I'm pretty content with the 2 I'm with. I don't really feel like I need to look for others. But I always keep that option open.
And what some people don't understand is, why do you have to have multiple women? Why do you have multiple relationships? And it's because each one brings a completely different dynamic.
Absolutely.
To your they just bring out different parts of your personality.
It's like the food pyramid. Like,
food
you
pyramid?
can't just eat one food and be healthy, right? Like, you can't just pick one.
You know what? That is a very good
It's like
analogy.
the food, I know.
How come we haven't brought that up
I'm good
before?
at this. But it's like the food pyramid. You can't just eat grains or fruit and just be healthy off that one thing. You need to have the variety of life to make you feel full and healthy. And so pick a few things off the pyramid. It's okay. Now, do you expect your sugar babies or your female friends to not date anyone else? Or are you okay if they see other people?
No, I'm okay. I think I'd be a hypocrite to say I don't want them dating other people.
You'd be surprised on how many guys
they want that.
They want that. They want exclusivity, but then they don't want to be exclusive.
Because there's this ideology that if women sleep with several men, we're whores, we're slutty, we're dirty, we're not worth as much for some reason. So I think men like to feel like they have priority access to that. You guys.
Yeah,
good for you.
Yeah, give you a perfect example. I was with this other girl a few years ago. I had been with her since 2014, and we were very open about other relationships. We became really good friends. And about a year and a half ago, the relationship kind of ended, mostly because she just lied to me. She told me, like, she was over my house one night and said, I have to get up, go to work early. I have to get my scrubs. And she goes, and where she really went was to this other guy's place that night. So she was lying to this other guy who she was trying to make her boyfriend, and she was lying to me. And I think that's where the problem was. The trust was gone. Before, we had great trust. We told each other, honest with each other. She knew who I was sleeping with. I knew who she was. And I think it's better that way, particularly on this kind of, with this kind of arrangement thing. Yeah. But and we haven't talked since because of that. And it's a shame because we had known each other a very long time,
All right, so when you're on the site talking with somebody, let's say that you want to meet them, how do you go about the process?
So I'm kind of like you. I'm pretty cut and paste. What do you call cut and paste?
Oh, Angie hates that so much.
I hate cut and paste.
But it's so time consuming typing out the same message.
I do cut and paste, but I do read the profiles. It's
same.
That's what he does. And then it's like one of those emails.
If they say something that relates to me, I'll comment on it.
Yeah, right. But
I have it pretty down. So my name on the site is Breastman 80-something, 86 or something like that. So people assume that I'm just want big boobs, right? Which is
it's that you make big boobs.
In fact, I like small natural breasts, but I always put, don't let this scare you off. This is this is my name because this is what I do for a living. Yeah. And most people like that, and it opens the conversation. And then I'm pretty free with giving them I have 2 cell phones. I keep one personally, and I honestly keep one for the site, really. And I have 2 phones, and I'll give them that number. And, it's a lot of work. You go through a lot of time and consuming, and it's just a lot of work. And, first step, I like to meet them. I like to just meet in person because 90% of the people there don't look anything like the pictures you see, honestly.
Yeah, that's about the number I find too. Is about 90% are much heavier, their faces are a little bit more full than what their sites are on the. Exactly, Angie. Angie's making a face over here, and it's pretty accurate. But every now and then, and I'm sure it's the same for you, I run into maybe 5 or 8% that actually look better in person. Agree. And I tell them immediately, and they're like, yeah, I know, I get that all the time. But there are a few that don't take pictures well. Yeah, they just don't take, or some that just take pictures amazing, Yeah. So when you meet girls on the site, since you're very open about the fact that you're a plastic surgeon, do you get hit up for procedures services and Botox? I probably see more boobs than most guys do on first dates, just as consults. People show Oh, yeah. I bet you do. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's probably where my perk list would go. I'd be like, can we just forego the allowance and create a little bit of Bill barter system? A little credit. I've probably done 10 to 15 boob jobs on girls I've dated over the last 3-4 years. Yeah. And the 2 I'm with now, I've done work on both of them. So, but I get hit up all the time. Yeah.
which I don't mind doing it, actually. It doesn't cost me that much money. I spend a lot, and it benefits me too, as long as I stay with them long enough.
Sure.
Right.
What kind of adventures that have you had that aren't so favorable?
Oh, yeah, I can tell you some crazies. A couple of things, too, I got to tell you real quick. So, you know how you first meet somebody, you're saying, well, when you meet them, the first time I meet them, it's just either a dinner date or it's coffee. Most of the time, dinner date. I've done the coffee thing, and coffee is okay. But the problem with the dinner, though, like you said once, is if you meet somebody you know damn well ain't going to work, you got to sit through a painful dinner, and it could be expensive. So
it's painful.
That's the negative side. But say once you had dinner, that's when I start talking numbers, right? And I've been burned so many times on giving allowance right off the bat. Like when I first started this, there was at least 2 girls I gave $4,000 to that I never seen again after the first date.
So you gave them like a monthly?
A monthly. I do monthly.
Yeah.
And that's my number 4.
I got burned too. I don't do monthly. And she was genuine, but and we went out for a month. I gave her a monthly allowance, and then I gave her second month, and she was gone after a week. She ended up getting. She's like, problem. "Hey, I got a boyfriend. I didn't mean for this to happen."
Yeah.
But, do you think she offered it back?
No. I typically
what I do
off
now is I say, look, and I tell them that story how I've been burnt. I say, look, if we can do pay per meet for a few dates, I prefer that, and then if all goes well, then I'll switch to monthly if that's, but there's a lot of women prefer pay per meet, honestly. Not everybody wants the allowance. They tell me, well, I don't want to be committed to seeing you more than I want to see you, which is fine. I mean, I honestly prefer pay per meet, but what I don't like about pay per meet, it's so transactional. And it's almost like, well, this is a fine line between a call girl.
And it is such a fine line, and it's a gray area.
No, stop it. There's no difference. If you're giving them $4,000 a month,
but I call a spade a spade. There really is no difference.
There's no difference, guys. I'm sorry. We're going to call you out.
But we can justify it better in our mind,
and do whatever you need to do. I do understand that, like in the moment, it makes it less transactional, though. That like you're not having to reach into your pocket or send like a Zelle, or you're not having to deal with it in the moment. So I get that, but I mean, it's all the same.
In the end, it is.
So when I do my pay per meets, what I found, I just started coming up with this years ago. So what I'll do is I'll take the money and I'll wrap it around a dozen roses, and I'll give them the roses with the money on it. And this way, it's not like, well, you're handing them money. I give them the roses.
I've never done that.
Roses, they grow $100 bills.
I'm just going to go to San Diego and hit up the site, because clearly,
you think it's different in San Diego than it is here?
Well, I mean, even Amy said that Washington was very different than Arizona. I think each, probably a little bit.
Geographic areas treat the site differently and the way they meet people? And
I think so. I think Arizona specifically too, because we have ASU and it's such a large college, and then we have so many people who travel here for work, and then you have snowbirds, and I think it's just a little bit different of a...
That's a general statement, I think. His experiences are pretty much the same as mine.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't see much difference.
Maybe. It'll be interesting as we talk to more people from other states, if there's like a difference, like in different areas of how.
There's definitely a difference in money.
Well, yeah, California money or Washington D.C. money is going to be different than North Dakota money.
Yeah, I feel like what I've heard from you and from about Washington, though, is like monthly arrangements seem to be a much more common thing. And here, I feel like people kind of run off of the pay per meet.
Yeah.
So
do you? And I never know how to handle this question. And Amy and Angie also kind of have a hard time with it. But when you're messaging somebody on the site and they're like, well, what are you offering? Where do you go with that question? Because everybody's different.
Most of the time they'll ask me, what are you looking for from the site?
Yeah.
They won't have to say offering. And I don't like to talk money on the site because I've heard things that they block you and stuff. I don't know if that's true. So that's why I guess I give my cell phone number out so quick.
Yeah. Same here.
So what I usually will say is I'll go something like this. I'll go, well, I'm looking for a beautiful, intelligent woman to enjoy the finer things in life in exchange for financial assistance. And then I put the things I like to do, boating, whatever I like to do. I said, if you're interested, this is my cell phone, message me.
Okay.
Then after a week or two, if I don't hear back from them, I'm really, really interested, because sometimes you know how it is. You don't know. Most of the time you don't hear back.
Right.
I'll go, well, I prefer monthly allowance, and anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 a month is what I've offered in the past. And that gets people's attention usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that would probably get Angie's attention.
It might.
I know it would.
We're all on there for a reason, right? Oh, you messed me up. I had such a good question in my head. Then you threw the loop at me. Yeah. Darn it. Oh, I was going to, so my standard answer, like as a woman, when guys are like, what are you looking for? I kind of have the same I should cut and paste it. But I always say, just think like best friends, great connection, great chemistry, lots of adult fun, no strings, and mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
Like we should feel like best friends.
Right.
That have like the best time together. But,
when you're together and then when you're not.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus, can I ask you a question? What if you see someone in their profile, they look perfect, great, everything, but then they have that dreaded word platonic?
You know what I find is a lot of people will put that, on some of the boxes that they're checking, like marriage-minded, platonic, or whatever, and a lot of them aren't. But the ones that say online relationship only, or I'm just looking for somebody to be friends with, platonic, I kind of avoid those, but I've found that they don't stick hard and true to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I'm the same way. I kind of avoid it, but a few times I've done it, they didn't turn out to be necessarily platonic.
Yeah.
But how many times would you say, if you're out with somebody and if you haven't gotten intimate, would you just give up? Because I've had that happen. The most I've ever done is 5 or 6. I said, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
expect intimacy on the first, maybe not even the second.
Yeah,
but third, fourth, I'm starting to think about it a little bit.
Right. Yeah, same here. I start getting frustrated after 3 or 4 times, and then I bring it up. I actually had an arrangement end that had a lot of potential, but she just, I don't know why, but she just wanted to wait. And after a while, I've got my needs, and here I am I'm helping, I'm paying out. And the dates were fun. We had a great time in the fun, but she just did not want to go that extra part. And I'm kind of like, I'm looking for a more balanced thing. I like having fun dates and dinners and concerts, but I do need a dose of intimacy, and I need it balanced. It doesn't have to be heavy on that side, although there are going to be situations where that's all we have time for, and let's just have fun.
Yeah.
But just give me a balanced relationship or a balanced experience. It cannot be just one-sided.
I think
I got that from my ex-wife.
When I first started SA, though, I thought it was all about the sex.
Yeah, it's not.
But I mean, that actually took me like a little bit to learn, because I went into it thinking that it's like just all about the sex, right? That was my perception. And now it's so interesting because my relationships have changed. Like I have this one guy that I see and we'll play around or whatever, but then we'll like cook dinner together and I'm chopping vegetables and, we're talking and we're laughing, or we go up, and I'm starting to really realize the value of like a deeper connection within the relationships. And that's a lot of fun. It means a lot when you have like that really good.
Yeah. You become friends. I mean, you literally, you become friends. The second one I told you, sometimes she'll have somebody maybe trying to break in her house or something. She'll call me like 3 a.m. because, she doesn't know who else to call.
Yeah. I had one recently call me. She had a flat tire and she didn't know who to call. I went over there. I fixed her flat. Actually, I took her to the store, got a new tire. And then I looked at the other 3 and I'm like, I guess we're buying 4 today, because they were completely bald and she was about to lose the tread on everything. And you know what? It made my heart full just to do that. And she's like, I didn't know who else to call, and I appreciate you coming over. And I took care of that for her. And there was no sex involved or anything. It was just,
and we so appreciate that.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And we go out. We're still going out.
Aww.
And I met her on the site. But
good for you.
Like I was in Austin this weekend, and I was on the site a lot for just podcast research, and I was telling a lot of people about the podcast and then seeing if I could find guests. It was Sunday. I had about 5 hours before my flight left, and I found a girl, and she's brand new on the site, very nervous about the whole thing. I said, look, I don't want anything except show me around town. Just be my guest. I want to talk. In her profile, I could tell she was a little deeper thinker, and because she expressed that, and we had the greatest time.
Did you?
Just, she showed me Austin. We walked up and down. We talked about life. She was in real estate. She wanted to know, about flipping and investments and things. So we just had the greatest conversation, and I gave her a little money. And I said, I what's happened though? And she's like, hey, look, she said this before we met. She said, hey, I'm kind of a broke girl. I just got to Austin. I'm kind of broke, and can you help me out a little financially? Because I already told her I'd compensate her for showing me around town. I said, sure. And I'm typing out like how much I'm about to send her. And she goes, is $80 too much to ask?
Aww.
I was like, $80? I said, I'm going to give you much more than that. And then I scolded her. I said, do not sell yourself short. Your time is worth something.
That worked really well in her favor, though, because then you felt even more sad for her, and you gave her more.
And she was an absolute doll. Just she'd never been on the site, and she didn't really know how to go about it.
But you're always so kind.
Yeah.
You're just a sweetheart.
But that was a lot of fun. Anyway, not sure how we got to that part, but
such as the podcast.
Back to Dr. Charles. Okay, so share some of your disasters.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've had two girls try to break into my house. But those were just, they were just, probably the two funniest ones I can think of. The first one was about a year and a half ago, something like that. And, I met this girl, and she was attractive. And we just went out to dinner and started drinking a lot of wine, and ended up back at my condo because I actually have a house that I live far from anybody, but it's my little retreat. Mm-hmm. And then I have a condo right in the middle of downtown San Diego, and that's usually my bachelor pad. That's usually where I hang out. Anyway, we went back there since we went out to dinner local, and we're back getting, kind of a little bit buzzed, and next thing I know, we're in the bedroom. Really didn't expect it that night, to be honest with you. I didn't really plan on it, but so we're in the middle, and I had to get up and go to the bathroom or something. I don't remember what I had to do, and next thing I know is this girl disappears. She's just gone with no clothes either. She left her boots. She left part of her clothing. She must have had some clothing on, but she just vanished. I go, what the hell? Did I do something to her, or what the hell is going on here? I was like, and I don't think I heard from her the rest of the night. And then the next morning she messaged me, and she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to run out like that, but I didn't tell you, but I'm pregnant. I go, pregnant? What? I said, and it was funny because we were doing a BBL on her, and I looked at her belly a little bit, and I go, wow, looks like you got a little bit fat there. That wasn't fat. It was a baby.
Oh, my goodness.
She was about 8 to 12 weeks pregnant and didn't tell me that. And, she was like, wow. So she just ran out of my place in the middle of intimacy, and, wow, that's kind of weird. And the funny part was a year later, after she had the baby, she messaged me and wanted to hang out again.
Are you serious?
Yeah. She'd like, well, hey, you think we can hang out again? I had such a good time that night. I was like, oh, no, I can't. That was one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, the next one's a little bit weird. So the next one was, I was out with some friends, and, I was on the side, and I said, I just really want to bring somebody. So I had been messaging this girl through the day. So I messaged just out of blue. She goes, said her PPM was like 300 or so. I said, look, I'll give you 6 if you can meet me at this club now. So she was visiting from out of town. She was in San Diego, and she showed up at the club, and I just wanted to be with somebody that night, Of course, she wasn't anything like what she looked like on her pictures, but I was okay with that. That's fine. She seems like can't get picky at 12 at midnight. So I, we started hanging out, and she was only there maybe an hour and a half. And I said, oh, you want to go back to my place? We can talk some more, drink. She goes, oh, no, I got to go out with some friends. I go, okay, that's fine. I was like, I was tired anyway. So I get back to my place, and she messages me. She goes, hey, can we come over with me and my friend? I go, okay, sure. It's a girl and some guy. And then I find out that they're like webcammers together on webcamming.
Yeah.
And
I meet a lot of those.
Pretty, kind of like getting kind of buzzed. And next thing I know, she's stripping for me and this guy. And the next thing I know, my $600 now is doubled because here I am tipping her $20 bills like a stripper, like my, going back to my old days.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I spent another $400 or $500 on tips. And he was doing it too. So I think he was really tipping her. He was just doing that to get me to spend more on it. I think I was kind of, set up, honestly, and so they went to the next morning. I was so tired. I'm unfortunately too much of a trusting person, and I let them spend the night in the bed. So I guess he got laid and I didn't. But yeah, so they just left in the morning.
You think he got laid and you obviously didn't?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure based on what I heard.
Based on what you heard. Yeah. So you're still active on there. Do you just peruse the profiles and message a few people, or what's going on?
I'm on it. I'm active, but not like I was. Like
it's time consuming, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know what? I still I look, and if I see somebody just gorgeous and somebody I'm really interested in meeting, I'll meet them. But I don't have high expectations, and like I said, I'm pretty happy with the two that I'm with. It's just my nature, I guess. Sometimes I'm never totally satisfied, I guess. But yeah, if I see somebody, I just don't ever take it off, but I don't browse it like I used to,
So what would be some good advice from somebody that's thinking about getting into this lifestyle or wanting to explore it? What would you say? Good things, bad things, things to avoid?
I think the first thing is go in with an open mind and just be truthful and honest because that's what this site is about, right? And, I think part of the problem is, at least in my generation, we were raised to find a wife, get married, have 2.2 kids, live happily ever after. And that happens like 10% of the time, maybe, if you're lucky. I think even me, when I first joined this site, like after I got divorced, I was like, well, I'll just find me another one I can be with or married. And then I started thinking about it. And particularly after one of your podcasts where we were talking about what, he's so right about that. Different girls give you different things and bring out different things in you. And it's okay because that's what you signed up for. You signed up not looking for a girlfriend, but maybe a girlfriend experience, which is the best way I think, is to describe this thing. It's like, in my case, I have 2 girlfriend experiences. And just be honest with the person you're with. Obviously, always meet in public. Don't even. I hear at night. I mean, I got some great stories from girls. It's unbelievable. Some of these girls will meet at hotels or places, somebody's place. I mean, you always meet at a public place. It's just a safety issue,
right?
And just just try to figure out what you want. To me, that's been the hard part. Figure out what you want, and don't settle for less. If she's not giving you what you need, then move on. Like my sister always tells me, you're in control. If she doesn't want it, there's 10 more behind her. And she's right. I'm even open with this with my sister. She knows all about this too.
Is your sister married, or is she on the site? Or
no,
that would be weird, huh?
Yeah, she's not. She hates men. She was in a 20-year-old marriage with alcoholic, so she won't even go near men. I'll have one more great story. This was a recent one. I met this one girl, and she was from Orange County or LA area. And I haven't had much luck with long distance ones. I don't know why, but so, it's hard because to me, Orange County is too far. It's not that far, but it's an hour and a half. But for me, that's almost too far. Anyway, she was really pretty. And so I said, I'll give you $2,000. I'll put you up in my condo. Come down. We'll spend 2 nights together. And, I met her once. I drove up there and met her, and she was very pretty. She was one of those ones where you said is prettier than the pictures,
photos,
she was one of them. And so I brought her down, and the first night we had a really good time and got a little too drunk. The second night she was too hungover, so we never really hung out the second night. So I guess that cost me $2,000 for one night. But whoops. So I figured, that's okay. I'll see her later. I'll see her. This was right around the holidays, and I'll just, see her after the holidays. So I sent her Instagram to my sister. I said, what'd you think about this girl? She goes, you mean your porn star girlfriend? I go, what do you mean a porn star? Not a porn star. I go, and then sure enough, I started digging deeper, and she was a porn star. And it said she was worth $8 million, but obviously not, because I don't think she'd be on the site if she was worth $8 million. So she was early 30s. So most of those girls that are in porn, by the time they're 30, they're pretty washed up, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of them. So, yeah, she turned out to be a porn star pretty much. So,
what's the matter, Angie? You don't think they're washed up? I mean, there's some truth to that, unfortunately.
I'm only 35, so I'm...
No, I'm not saying as a woman. I'm saying in porn.
Yeah.
porn industry.
No, I know, because there's a lot of usage. I get it.
Yeah.
It's like those tires you changed.
Right.
Just get worn out.
So let me ask you, I get messages from people all the time, and they really are, I know it's hard to talk about because it starts feeling like prostitution. Matter of fact, somebody even commented on a post on my Instagram today is that this is prostitution. Why don't you girls go get a real job? And I replied, is being married and taking care of my wife prostitution? What if I have a girlfriend, I take care of her financially? Is that prostitution? So it's just basically a label. Since this one's a sugar baby, now it's prostitution, but it's the same exact concept.
Look, a career is supposed to be something that you love doing, that doesn't feel like work, and you're really good at, and provides well for you. It's not prostitution. It's great employment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What do you think? What do you feel about it, Doc?
You know what? I feel the same way. I mean, I have done nothing my entire life taking care of women. I've been married twice, took care of both of them, provided really well for them. I mean, I don't even think I've ever had a woman take me out to dinner, maybe once or twice. Mm-hmm. I don't ever let a woman ever pay for anything.
Same.
So for me, I don't see it as prostitution. I just see it as it's just you're taking care of a woman that, we're attracted to younger, attractive women. What's wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with that? And
they have jobs. A lot of these have jobs. They have means.
The girls I date, one of them has a job, the other doesn't. But I don't see it that way. I don't look at it that way. I mean, there are a lot of prostitutes on the site. There's no doubt about that. But I think for the ones that are good, that, really good at it, they're really nice girls. They have employment. Mm-hmm. They have good values. They just, they need there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
I feel like it's almost more of like an exchange of power,
Yeah.
It's just an equal exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's morally wrong.
So would you recommend somebody pursuing this lifestyle?
I would. Yeah. Yeah, I would. I'm not sure I can ever get off it, to be honest with you.
We talk about that a lot, that once you are on the site, it's hard to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been on other sites that aren't, and I've been on other sugar daddy sites, and the other ones all suck, to be honest with you. I've been on
Seeking kind of has a corner on the market, don't they?
They really do. There's a bunch of other ones, and they're just not, most of them are fraudulent. But I've been on like Tinder and Bumble, and
mm-hmm.
There's one recently I found out was called Luxury. I don't know if you ever heard of that one,
mm-hmm.
but it's like you never hear back from the people, and it's just like I don't know. I don't even look at them anymore. I just go right to Seeking.
I still swipe right every now and then, swipe left, and I'll match every now and then on Bumble. But getting to a meeting is just so
very
taxing.
difficult.
It's very difficult just to get to a meeting, and then once you do, I would say almost 100% don't look like their profile.
Yeah,
almost 100%. Where at least in Seeking, you're up in the 90%.
Well, and you quickly learn that your time is just better invested on a platform where people are coming to the table
mm-hmm.
in an honest format.
Yeah.
So
you've been on it for a while too. Have you noticed a big difference in the site? I've noticed a huge difference from 7 years ago till today. It's just huge as far as the number of people on it, and wow, some of the girls are getting younger and younger.
Well, or we're getting older and older. That's the problem. I used to be a football referee, and I would do high school football games, and the cheerleaders there look like babies. But God forbid, at 18 years old, I was wanting to bang every one of those cheerleaders when I was in high school.
Right.
So, but now they look so young to me. So I get it. I think we're just getting older.
Maybe. But it's definitely more popular.
I'll tell you, as I was looking at profiles and just kind of seeing who was on the site yesterday, it's a whole new crop than even a week ago. It's unbelievable how the turnover is.
The guys are changing too. Like I've noticed lately, there are a lot of really young guys who are using it like as a dating site. I don't know if it's because the pictures are racier or because,
mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of just really younger guys who...
Well, I think they have the fantasy of that these girls are easy and that they have better luck with these girls, but I don't know how they get around the financial part of it.
And most girls on the site are pretty tough when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So,
That's
the point of the site.
The point of the site. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think we talked about earlier, though, how SA changes like future actual real dating relationships. And I think one of the cool things that SA has taught me is going forward as I leave SA, I don't think I would ever be in a non-monogamous relationship. I think I will always look, even if it is a very committed, personal, non-arrangement relationship, I will always probably look for like an ethically non-monogamous or an open relationship, because I just can't imagine feeling that constricted, just trying to share my entire person with one individual for the rest of my life.
Right.
So,
well, Dr. Charles, I appreciate you being here. You did use your real name. Do you anything you want to plug? Most people want to use aliases, but you could plug something if you want.
No, I think, like I said, I'm not shy about it. I'm not embarrassed about it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So I had one of my friends that knew, he said he wanted to be a sugar daddy, but want to know if he can borrow money from me to be a sugar daddy.
Oh, that's the wrong start right there.
Yeah.
Because
I said, no, you
that's
can't.
an ongoing endeavor.
yeah.
That's not a one-time thing.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for visiting our website and sending that email. And hey, guys, if you want to be on the show or you want to leave us some feedback or things that we should talk about, you can also go to our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. And then we'd really appreciate a follow on Instagram. We post daily there, lots of good stuff, updates about the show, gaining followers, but we need a lot more. So follow us there. And thank you, Angie, for co-hosting today.
Yeah, of course.
Always lovely to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
All right. Until next time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.